Spring is coming, and I have got some DIYs that I'm sharing. And today what I'm going to do, I'm sure some of you have seen the piece of wood that has Easter written on it and the bunnies on top. Can you see that? Where the bunnies here are on top of the wood. Well, I'm going to make my own. So what I did is I went out into the garage, got a 2x4. This is approximately 14 inches long. Now, I was going to use the foam bunnies I got from the Dollar Tree. And you could if you wanted to glue a few of them so they weren't so flimsy. But what I decided to do is I was looking, I saw that the cardboard was in the middle of these. So I'm using this as a template, and I already cut one out, and I'm getting ready to trace again. So let's see. I'm going to bring it down here so you can see. I'm just going to take this, trace it again. I could probably get 4 bunnies onto this, but I'm only going to do 3. So there it is traced. And now what I'm going to do, these scissors aren't very sharp, and instead of getting my X-Acto knife out, I have my box cutter, but be very careful if you do use this. And I'm just going to go along the inked, the traced line. This cut out, and then we'll start with the stencil and painting the bunnies. Okay, what I've done so far is I cut 3. No, I didn't. I cut 2. I had this one, and I cut 2 more. Use this as my template. And wipe down this 2x4. Now, although I'm going to glue these on top, I'm not going to keep it assembled. So these will just come off when I'm done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stencil that I've had, and they're just individual stencils of the alphabet. So I think what I'm going to do, instead of saying Easter, I'm going to put spring. So, and these adhere on. I don't know how well they'll do since I wiped it down with a damp cloth, but we'll see. And I think I'm not going to have them straight. I'm going to have them kind of all over. I like these because they do adhere. When you're doing something separately, a word, this is really nice to have. Okay. You know, I love Christmas. Love, love, love. But there's something about spring. It's like everything just, I don't know. You know, it's happy. Well, not that Christmas isn't happy, but I don't know. Just cherry and a lot of color. And spring, I think, is going to work out beautifully. Here a little bit better had I not wiped down the board, but like I say, it was just laying in the garage and it was dusty, and I had to get that dust off. So that's okay. I'll just hold on to it a little bit. So that's about what that's going to look like. Okay, so now move these to the side. Well, you know what? If I want to go kind of farmhousey, I could use the dark brown on this natural colored wood. What I might do, now that I'm thinking about it, and I love the way I always take you along with me in the process of my thinking instead of having it already thought out before I do it. But that's not the way I roll. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go ahead on here and just hit this with a little bit of white or gesso after I paint this side with brown. And then I will probably do the lettering, the dark brown. Okay, what I've done is I've just squeezed on some brown here, and we're just going to, and I put a little bit of gesso as well. So I wanted to see which way I wanted to go first. So I think it's the brown. And then that will take care of the whatever dust I didn't get off of it. So yes, this one will be more of a, instead of a real springy, colorful, this is going to be more going into my family room, which is more of the farmhouse browns, creams, sage greens, some purple, some color, but you'll see. In my home tour, you'll see what I'm doing. Okay guys, what I did is I let this piece of wood just dry for a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit, I'm going to take a little bit of the gesso and I'm just going to dry brush it over this. Put this on my brush, the gesso, then I'm going to take it off with a paper towel and just literally very little, like I'm almost just using the wood to take off the paint of my brush. And then if you want more on there, you can. You can always add more. It's hard to take away, so I always go light. Okay, that's good. That's all I'm going to do. Because the way it's looking now, I think the white would show up better than the dark paint when I put spring. So I don't want real white strokes showing. You know what I'm saying? I want it more, just so now, let's get our stencils back. Just want them kind of sporadic, you know. Trying to get them as much as I can spaced about the same. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay. All right, I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to wash my hands, go get my stenciling brush, and I'll be back. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just going to take my stencil brush. I have the stencil on, and I'm going to kind of dry brush this on, but I do want it to be white enough to where it stands out. And this doesn't take long at all. And then once we get this done, I'll put that to the side, let it dry, and we'll work on the bunnies. And we'll work on the bunnies and decide how we're going to dress them up. So I'm going to put this on the other side, let this dry, and we're going to start with the bunnies. And let's see how we're going to do our bunnies. Okay, when you're doing crafts like this, just mess around with it, you know. You can always say yay or nay. You don't have to do it, but you're not going to know until you try things. Let's just see what happens here. And it might work, it might not, but That's the whole thing of creating. You have to try different things, right? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You go on to something else. Okay, that's an option. We're just wanting to do 3 things that will go with that base, which is, like I said, more farmhouse. It's not your typical aquas, pastels. This is going to be more browns and greens and, well, farmhouse. So, okay. Burlap. I don't know if I'm going to paint these bunnies the color of, you know, for instance, if I do this, I don't know if I'll paint the bunny cream so you're not seeing the brown behind it. I might leave the brown on purpose. Let me... Only thing I don't like about burlap is it frays so much. Okay. Oh good, I came close to it. Okay, so this one I'm not going to paint underneath because you can't really see too much anyway. So what I'm going to do with this one, okay, so now I have my tacky glue. What to do is I'm just going to get my glue onto this bunny. Okay. Just going to use my finger, best tool you got, right? Your hands. Then I'm just going to lay down what I cut. Okay. We'll let this little guy dry and then I will trim around. I'd rather trim over than under, obviously. And then we'll maybe dress him up a little bit. So there's one. Okay, paper for the second one. I think I have enough, just enough, from my Valentine frame I did. So let's see if I have enough. I think I'm just going to squeak by. Yep, I'm just squeaking, but I'll make it. Okay. Okay, let's see how this looks. Won't have to paint it because this is covering it. All right, so now let's glue this one on. Okay, I think I decided what I'm going to do with the third one. I think I'm going to leave it this color and have this show through it because I like the way it goes with this one and it goes with this one. So I'm not going to paint this bunny. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut the lace. Obviously I can't trim it because I'm cutting it in pieces. And this one I think I'm going to Mod Podge on because Mod Podge is thinner and it'll dry faster. What I could do is I could spray some spray adhesive on this and just lay the lace out, but I'm going to use the Mod Podge. So, let me get my trusty brush and we'll get going. And then you can just trim this lace once you have it all on, because basically I'm patching it onto this. Perfect. Perfectamundo. Here's the second one of what's left here for the ears. So I'll worry about that in a minute. I just want to get this to where it's staying down. I took this stencils off and it says spring. I have the bunnies that I cut out of the cardboard from a box that I saved. And now I'm going to embellish a little bit with bows, and I'm using just regular cotton balls for the tails. I put 2 cotton balls together. These are the large cotton balls. Okay, so what I'm doing with this one, I was going to do the ink and ink the edges, but I wanted a little bit more dimension. So I'm almost done gluing, hot gluing on a little bit of kind of like a twine. I'll show you. Okay, so there's that one. So that's what I'm trimming that one in as far as around it. And I trimmed it with this, the twine from the His and Her from Hobby Lobby. Okay, now the lace one, I think what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to go ahead and glue, since she's already lacy, I'm going to glue the lace around her. So let's start right here. What's good about this big glue gun, the glue stays hotter than like on a small one, so I can get quite a bit glued without it drying out real quick. Okay, see? So I'm going to have the lace like this. It's by hot glue. I don't know if I even have fingerprints left. Yep, it stayed. Okay, so she's going to be very, very prissy, this one. Okay. Now this guy, I think what I'm going to do with him, I might add the same trim. Yeah, I think I will. I'm going to add the same trim as I did to the first one. So I'll be back. Okay. Now, if I still had my scroll saw, I could have cut pieces of wood just like the one shown at Hobby Lobby with the 3 little bunnies, and just painted them the same way with this, make them a little bit wider. But since I don't have my scroll saw, I had to use cardboard. So now let's put on their bunny tails. And again, these are the large cotton balls from Walmart. And that's what makes them. All right, now this one I made a bow, and I just cut a piece of ribbon, folded it, pinched it, and then glued a piece around it. This one is going to go with him. And you can just fluff it up. Okay, There she is. And then for this guy, I think I'm going to put some raffia for his. Okay, so there's that one. So to me, this is the fun part when you start to embellish. Okay, so with these I'm gluing them, and then I'm just going to put a little piece, like an easel if you will, made out of, I don't think I'm going to use cardboard, I think I'll use a skewer. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a bamboo skewer, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to glue it to the back of this and to the wood. Show you. Okay, so what I did is I just glued all 3 of the bunnies onto the wood, and I put a little bit of this Excelsior down before I put them down. So now what I want to do is I want to see if I want to do anything else as far as embellishing up here. Okay, can I just show you my takeoff or inspired piece from Hobby Lobby. Theirs was 3 bunnies made out of wood on top of a piece of wood that I think it said Happy Easter. What I did is I took my 2x4 like I told you from the garage, painted some brown and then gessoed some white onto it, then took some stencils and wrote out spring. I hope you like it, I hope you try it, and until next time, the world's a better place because you're in it. Don't ever, ever forget that. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.